U.S. government personnel in the Arab world are on guard after two of their diplomatic missions became targets. Protesters stormed a consulate in Libya, killing one American official. They also descended on an embassy in Egypt. A U.S.-produced film considered insulting to Islam prophet Muhammad is believed to be behind the outrage.
Islamic conservatives were angered by news of a U.S. film depicting the Prophet Muhammad as a buffoon and showing him having sex. The movie is reported to have been produced and promoted by people with anti-Islamic views. Muslims find it offensive to depict the Prophet in any fashion, much less in an insulting way.
The new movie is being promoted by the likes of Florida pastor Terry Jones, who infamously burned a Quran in 2010. In a statement tonight, Jones said the movie is, quote, not designed to attack Muslims, but to show the destructive ideology of Islam. They have to arrest this priest, this Christian protester said. The embassy knew something was brewing after they were sent parts of the film asking about their involvement. The ambassador and most of the staff had left the complex ahead of the protest. Then they put out a statement condemning, quote, the continuing efforts by misguided individuals to hurt the religious feelings of Muslims.
Protesters stormed the U.S. consulate in Benghazi, Libya, and scaled the walls of the embassy in Cairo. A U.S. State Department officer was killed in Benghazi when crowds stormed the consulate and set it on fire. The film that triggered the protest deeply offended Muslims by portraying the Prophet Muhammad in an unfavorable light. Protesters were outraged and took out their anger on the consulate and its staff.
Armed militants attacked the offices, but were eventually forced to retreat by gunfire from Libyan security forces. It's thought the incident was provoked by a US-produced film that is said to be insulting to the Prophet Muhammad. Although the building was burnt to the ground and items of furniture looted, no one was inside at the time.
It was never in any real danger, but this could escalate and the situation remains tense. It all began this afternoon when several hundred demonstrators gathered in front of the U.S. Embassy. Then a few dozen of the demonstrators managed to scale the perimeter walls, get inside the embassy, pull down the U.S. flag, replace it with a black Islamic flag. Then Egyptian security forces moved in to secure the perimeter. Under the former president, Hosni Mubarak, this would have been very difficult. Protesters wouldn't have been allowed anywhere near the U.S. Embassy. Today, they were able to scribble graffiti on the embassy wall. This was all triggered by a movie, a fringe radical movie made in the United States that is insulting to Islam. And the danger, Brian, is in this internet age, even an obscure film like this can be seen all around the world.
Many of the protesters in Cairo are supporters of Islamist groups. They want the Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi, himself an Islamist, to take immediate action.
You, Dr. Mohamed Morsi, you have come to the office through democracy, and we are demanding that you hold a meeting with the Islamists, as you did a few days ago with the artists and thinkers.
The U.S. Embassy has released a statement condemning people who hurt the religious feelings of Muslims and followers of any other faiths. But that's not enough for the protesters.
Everybody wants to express his or her own opinion, that we will never accept that our Prophet Muhammad might be humiliated.
Even before the film is shown, some Muslims are making their views about it very clear.
The United States says calm has now been restored at the embassy and relations between the US and Egypt haven't been affected.
One of the things about the new Egypt is that protest is possible. Obviously, we all want to see peaceful protests, which is not what happened outside the U.S. mission, so we're trying to restore calm now. But I think the bigger picture is one of the United States supporting Egypt's democratic transition, and the Egyptian government very much welcoming and working with us on the support that we have to offer.
But the United States has condemned the attack on its consulate in Benghazi in the strongest terms. It says it's now working with Libyan security forces to secure the building from looters and further attacks.
The largest US Islamic civil rights organization is urging Muslims around the world to ignore the movie, which it describes as trashy.